Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. The audio probably sucks on this. I'm recording this on my iPhone in my kitchen because in front of me I have my camera and lenses, and I want to do a quick video for you guys on my Micro Four Thirds lenses setups and why I have each lens to maybe help some of you Micro Four Thirds shooters. Maybe you're shooting Olympus, shooting Panasonic, help you decide what I'm shooting and why I'm shooting it. So without further ado, I'm not going to screw around. I want to get to it, and I want to show you guys camera body, which is the EM5 Mark III, and the lenses I have, what I shoot with, why I shoot with them. So let's get started. The very first lens I have that probably takes the most shots on this camera or any other Micro Four Thirds camera is this Lumix 20mm f1.7 lens right here. Now the reason why I have this is because I typically tend to lean towards a 35mm focal length. And the reason why I really like is if I take this lens off here, I put this on like this, it makes it a really small and compact setup. Now it's a little slow to focus, you guys will hear about it, but it also looks sleek. It's black and shiny, it matches the camera itself, and the image quality out of this is fantastic. It's sharp. I can get good colors out of the lens, you know, with the Olympus profiles, and it's just, it goes in my jacket pocket. So this is like my everyday carry type setup right here. So the 20mm f1.7 pancake lens, it's pretty much well regarded as a staple in the Micro Four Thirds lens lineup. So that's the first. Oh my gosh, the whole setup fell. Okay, we're back. The second lens I have in my setup is the Leica 12mm f1.4 lens. Now this lens is big for Micro Four Thirds, but it is an absolute beast. In my opinion, if you're gonna do any kind of vlogging and you want shallow depth of field, or you want shallow depth of field in a wide angle photography, or maybe even astrophotography, this lens is a must have. It's premium built, it's metal, it's fantastic. It's typically $1,000 or $1,200 lens, I think it is, but I found this, as you guys know, probably from watching other videos, Amazon open box for like $650 or something like that. So still pricey nonetheless, but absolutely amazing lens. I shoot all my video besides like ones where I'm using my iPhone on this lens, and I absolutely love it. The only thing that's wrong with it basically is its size. But other than that, this lens is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely love this lens. 12mm f1.4. If you're a Micro Four Thirds shooter, absolutely worth it. Go get it. All right, next up, I tend to stick with the Leicas, and I would have had the Leica 15mm f1.7 instead of this 20, but the size is where it's at on this. So nonetheless, this is the Leica 25mm f1.4 lens. Did I say 1.4 on the 12mm? That's a 1.4 lens as well. This is 1.7. This is 1.4 as well. It's a good lens. 25mm f1.7, I like it. This happens to have a little bit more on the image quality side, a little bit more sharpness, a little bit more in that micro contrast, if that's, you know, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Just, it has a little bit more tonality to it that I tend to like. I think it's a better lens. It's a little bit heavier, but than the 25-1.7, but it's a fantastic lens. It doesn't feel that premium compared to like this 12mm f1.4. This is all metal. This thing's a beast. This thing's built like the Nocticron, the 42.5 f1.2, I think it is. I don't have that lens, but this thing's built fantastic. This thing's a little more plasticky, but nonetheless, it's a really good lens. I got this used off of MPB, and I think it was like $320 or $300, about something like that. So it's not that much, but for nifty 50, it's a little pricey. But nonetheless, I say go with this. The f1.7, I just never really like the colors coming out of that, and it is a good value lens, especially for the price. But I think the 1.4 is worth it. There's something just a bit different about this lens. So the 25mm f1.4 is a great lens. Before I go to some of these zooms, let's talk about the lens that was on the camera. That's on the camera now. You guys are probably freaking out because I got an open sensor sitting here. I'll put it back on. But this is the Sigma 56mm f1.4. This lens I was debating quite a bit about, and I'll tell you why I got this. I think it cost me $400-ish brand new for this lens. And I really wanted to get the Nocticron, the Leica 42.5mm f1.2 to go with this, but I couldn't justify the, I think I found it new open box on Amazon for like $750, $700, something like that. I just couldn't justify the $350, $400 price difference, especially when I started looking at sample images. Now, the Nocticron is an amazing lens. Leica has awesome color rendition, but for shooting portraits, I wanted a little bit more focal length, so 42.5 versus 56. That's like 24 millimeters, an equivalent focal length in 35 millimeter full frame format terms. So I get more compression. I can use this, it's a little bit longer for my daughter's sports and gymnastics whenever we're allowed to go back, and that's all, the whole quarantine thing's lifted. And like I said, it's half the cost. And this lens is really, really, really sharp. I'll talk more about this in just a second, but for my portraits and I guess short telephoto, if you will, I'm using this 56 millimeter f1.4. Now I have two cheap zoom lenses here that I'm going to do something with in the future. The first I'm going to talk to you guys about is this right here. It's the 40-150 cheap $100 zoom lens for Olympus. It's plastic. It's plastic mount. So this is not cream of the crop when it comes to anything, but surprisingly, the image quality out of this isn't that bad. I mean, it's not nearly as sharp as the 40-150 f2.8 Pro, but this thing's not too bad, and it's pretty small, it's lightweight, and really what this is for is that in the off case I'm going outdoors and I need to get something that's a little bit longer, I'll use this. Also, my wife likes to grab my camera once in a while, and she likes to sit on her back porch and take pictures of birds. So that's a cheap way for us to take care of that. So I have this. I think for any Micro Four Thirds shooter, if you're not really sure what you want to do in terms of long telephoto, get this, experiment with it, and then go spend your money on something else afterwards. For $100, brand new, you can't go wrong. And then last but not least, I have the kit lens that was on the Panasonic cameras, the 12-60 f3.5 to 5.6, I believe it is. Yeah. And the reason why I had this was it's a good all-arounder. If you're going to go travel somewhere and you don't want one lens, this is a fantastic lens. Now, the 12-60 f2.8 to 4 is better by far, in my opinion, but this is still a very, very, very good lens. My only thing here is that I'm thinking about considering looking at, because it's the same size and it's premium build, better image quality, the 12-45 f4 Pro that Olympus just came out with. It's hard to swallow $600 for an f4 lens on Micro Four Thirds. So I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, and this is still really, really good. And I don't use this as much, but if you're gonna have one lens, I think that 12-45, 12-35, 12-60, that lens focal length is really, really good. This is a good one. So these are my two like cheap kit lenses, if you will. And then the primes are what I mostly shoot with, and I use those for a lot of any kind of portrait or documentary or whatever stuff I'm trying to shoot. Again, I end up going back to the Micro Four. I end up going back to the EM5 Mark III for the phase detect autofocus. And I do like the out of camera colors. My G9 was jacked up and I didn't feel like screwing with it. It's the second time I had a G9. Both of them had issues. One with autofocusing in sport mode was a mess. And then this one, the other one, they kept dropping, the cards kept freezing up, which is weird. So nonetheless, I am on EM5 Mark III. Now I want to talk to you about this lens right here, the 56-1.4, and what I'm doing this week. If you guys made it this far in the video, I appreciate it. This is just a gear discussion, but I'm going to challenge myself. I do little challenges throughout the week, and I post some on Instagram, some I don't. I'm thinking about starting a blog. I don't know. We'll talk about that. But I'm putting this lens on this camera this week, and I'm only putting this lens on here, except for videos that I shoot. And I'm shooting all week with it because 112 millimeters effective focal length is difficult to get used to. So I want to try to get used to it and get like in that mind space. So all week I'm going to shoot with this every single day. And I'm leaving all in black and white because I want to get some of that. I just want to make it very binary in my mind. Like, this is the only lens. It's going to be black and white. And just challenge myself that way and take pictures of things in a lot of isolation, which is where this lens comes into play. So whereas something like the 12 millimeter f1.4 is real wide, I want to shoot really, really isolated subjects. I challenge you guys to do something similar. If you're kind of like going through this quarantine thing and you're getting bored with photography because I'm so sick of macro photography. I know people like to shoot it. Oh gosh, if I see another macro photography video, I'm going to explode. But nonetheless, I wanted to shoot something more isolated. So as I go walk around the subdivision with the dog, or I go out to stores and do some shopping or whatever, having this with me to try and create a different perspective is going to be interesting. So that's my lens lineup, guys. This is what I got for you. The everyday street shooter, 20 millimeter f1.7. Again, I debated between this and the 15mm f1.7 Leica, but I'm sticking with this for now. The 25-1.4, the 12mm f1.4, the 12-60 Panasonic kit lens, and the 45-150 Olympus cheap telephoto zoom. That's my Micro Four Thirds lens lineup. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys are using below. Let me know what you think about this kit. If you like it, you hate it, you think it sucks. And I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to come back later this week with photos from this combination, this setup. I'll see you guys.